Whatever.
Yo.
Yo.
So yeah, what were those things that ChatGPT came up with?
It came up with what we were promised, and then
Dropping my seat down.
how people become who they are. That's the two
What we were
responses it gave me.
promised. That sounds very Jewish,
Yeah, well,
right?
definitely,
Isn't
and
that?
it makes sense as far as what we've been not getting. I mean, if you think about the American dream,
what we were promised 3,000 years ago is the Jewish thing.
that's amazing. Maybe ChatGPT was
promised.
being a little Jewy.
What we were promised. Yeah, it says Israel was promised to them 3,000 years ago.
Dude, that's so weird. That's so
That's
weird
an
that
anti-Semitic thing.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, all I said was, give me a topic to start a podcast.
Well, what we were promised, I've never heard anyone use that phraseology before. It's very like what we were promised. It sounds like an emo band.
It really does. Well, it makes me, I mean, I've probably said that before when I think about how when I worked at Sports Authority, the second time I came back to work at Sports Authority because they were like, hey, we want you to come back now that you're 21, you could be a manager. And I was like, all right, cool. So I come back and I start doing manager training. And then all of a sudden they give that position to somebody else. And I'm like, why do you think I came back?
I see. So
a new,
you have,
a new store manager came in during that process, and then from a different Sports Authority store. And then he brought somebody else over to become that manager that I was going to be.
So you were promised something. Okay, so in that context, we can probably spin an episode out of this. I mean, we've been promised things in our lives that people didn't deliver on, and that's real disappointing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
I'm trying to think of anything that I've been promised that I haven't got. Really can't think of much.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I know I get accused of making promises I don't deliver on.
Yeah, I'm sure we all do.
I think that's a number one wife complaint. You said you were going to do this. Yeah.
I always joke with Jess because we'll be like, hey, let's do this. She says, okay, we'll do that later. And then I'll be like, hey, it's later. She's like, I didn't say when later. To define where later is at.
That sounds like you guys are having fun.
That was definitely a fun topic, yeah.
That was a fun it was a fun thing, right? It wasn't like
Yeah. It was super fun thing.
Contentious, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It sounds like you mastered the art of having a fun relationship after your last one.
Well,
kind of.
I would say yes. It's I know we've talked about this before, just have it as we grow older and we know what we want. And then after, specifically for me, after a first failed marriage, it's like, well, I know what I don't fucking want, and so
yeah, but you can say that all you want, but it doesn't actually matter. Like, let's say, for example, in my situation, I know what I want, but that doesn't mean I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of guys I think every guy wants peace and quiet, right?
Sure.
But if just because you say, I know this is the thing I want in a relationship or whatever, it's like, have you earned that, or are you not doing something? Why are you not getting it, right? It's like you're ignoring the issue, and you're like, this is what I want. Why can't I have it? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, as men and women want different things, right? So of course, I love all the time that we spend together. Well, but that doesn't mean that I don't want more of alone time to where she doesn't. But not that I'm saying that happens for me per se.
No, I just think making you have to know how to get what you want. You can't just say I want it a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think for Jess and I, we just talked about all that stuff before we even technically started or came out as dating, So
good for you guys.
Well, it's like I said, I knew what I didn't want, so
yeah. My lighting looks pretty good, huh?
Your lighting does look good. It's so even. And I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
Jesus is shining on me.
Yeah. So yeah, we wanted to keep the momentum going. So are we going to record again on Wednesday or something, or are we just doing Monday?
I think Wednesdays are good for me.
Okay.
Thursdays after in the afternoon like this. And then most of the time Fridays during the day are fine.
So we can keep going.
Should be
Ooh,
careful
you
when I
keep it
say
going.
that.
Dude, I fucked my back up falling down those stairs.
Oh, that's right.
And I didn't think I was hurt because it took a while. It
Yep.
was, it happened on Thursday and now it's Monday. So did it
And you
happen
feel
Thursday or
worse?
Wednesday? I didn't feel anything hardly.
No, I
At
mean,
first,
okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I thought I got out of it without any injury, and I was like, "Oh, it must be my muscles protected me. I must be like really strong for my age or something." I didn't even bruise. It was weird. There was no bruise. I thought I was overreacting because it was a really hard fall. And then just last night when I was going to bed, I looked at my back in the mirror, and there's a big, like green bruise now.
Ah, yeah.
And then on my knuckles as well. It all just appeared last night. So
Well, at least it wasn't
delayed.
like well, we'll see about your back, but it hurts because it's bruised. At least you can
Yeah,
see if that bruise goes away and you don't feel better, then you might have to
it's
go
like in
get
my
checked out.
rib. It hurts to like breathe a little bit,
You might have cracked
but
a rib.
could have.
Bru-
If I fucking
Cracked,
hit hard,
bruised.
man. I hit
Oh,
really
God.
hard. So, but I don't think I broke my. I didn't like do any serious back damage. It feels like it's
Yeah,
more in like my shoulder area, like when I do
that's
this.
that's good. It's
Oh,
probably just sore. I know
yeah.
from sitting at a desk all day, if I like go like this, I just feel it down the sides of my spine. I closed the door, so
Oh
you didn't come in
no,
here.
not you.
I'm gonna
Wee.
actually close the door. I had it propped closed, but she's not like any other cat. She was just like pushes it open.
So
See my butthole.
you got good feedback from the podcast, right?
I did. I got
Did we
really
talk
good
about that on
feedback.
the last? I don't think we talked about
I
that.
I don't think so.
No,
I
we
don't
just
know if we
talked
did.
about it
Yeah,
after hours.
my brother really liked it, and he's continuing to watch, and he participates even in commenting and stuff, which is great.
I had a friend who also watched it. He was asking me. Actually sent him the clip of the Wheel of Whatever, the AI video, because it was
Yeah,
so funny. I just had to
yeah,
share it.
yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, when are you releasing your first episode?" And I was like, "We already did." And so I
And we're
sent
like
it to him.
5 in.
Yeah, and he was like, "I'm going to start with episode 1." And I was like, I wish they'd
Yeah,
start with
well,
the
that's
newer
okay.
episode."
I think that's
Yeah.
fine because people like, especially our friends, to see how we grow. It's like
He said
this isn't just something you're naturally gonna be good at right away.
we have the gift of gab, he said. He's jealous.
uh,
So,
well, that's nice. Well, obviously we haven't had any bad feedback yet, but I'd almost wouldn't care if somebody commented something negative and just being like, "All right, sweet, somebody saw it."
yeah.
You don't have to like our opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, It'd be funny though,
Yeah,
we do start getting some negative ones from like specific people and they just keep watching it. They keep watching,
to
keep
hate,
commenting. It's like, sweet, yeah, love it. Love it.
trying
Fuel
to
it.
like
Fuel me.
tell people about us and then growing our audience.
Yeah,
Look
you
at
should
these
watch these
dummies.
dumbasses. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so stupid.
They think they know everything.
Do we think we know everything?
No, isn't that the point of
Nah,
this
that's all we
podcast?
do is sit and talk about things and try to like come to some kind of an idea of what all of it means, right?
Yeah,
We're working our way through shit.
through life or whatever.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is, man. So I don't feel like it's arrogant to just fucking talk. I mean, like sometimes I say things like declaratively, like I'm like, this is my opinion. But like that's subject to change almost like instantly if someone presents something else. Like
Well, that
sometimes I think I come across maybe too like certain of something. Like I'm like, this is why that works this way. And then you'll say something and I'll have to like stress test what I just said and I'll be like, oh, that makes sense too. So
Well, yeah,
could come
yeah, and
across as arrogant, but I
but
don't know.
that's like the opposite. You're like open to potentially other ideas as long as you hear a good argument. Like I feel like I've told you this before is like I used to just be like this what I thought was a know-it-all because I was just this young guy and I'm like I'm the shit and I know everything and I'm gonna argue with you about everything. And now I just actually like enjoy hearing different perspectives and but as long as you're not gonna get pissed at, I'm not gonna change my mind.
Dude, I remember you and me having a conversation not even a super long time ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago, and I was telling you that we needed to have like a fucking Bernie Sanders shit. I was arguing for like redistributing income. I was like,
Uh,
everybody deserves a paycheck, and you were like, I don't know about that.
that's hilarious. Uh,
Yeah,
well, and look at you
my
now.
opinions have changed a lot.
Well, and they should, as the world changes or things become more transparent. Like,
Yeah, I was just idealistic. I was young and idealistic. I didn't like
I
have to
feel like
pay
you're
for a bunch of
also
shit.
in a culture that, like
A cult,
the no culture,
kind of a cult.
just the not that you were in Hollywood, but you know what I mean, like the
I
video.
was amongst those people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think the influence of that, but more so just you. I mean, the Grammys just came out and they're doing the same thing. Did you see any of that?
I don't watch that shit.
I don't watch the show, but I saw clips because I watch the news and they're talking about like Billie Eilish, who's like
Oh, maybe
saying
I did
that
see Billie Eilish thing. Yeah.
she said that you can't you can't own stolen land or something like that,
Yeah,
or
yeah, that's always seems to be one of their talking points.
you can't be an illegal on stolen land
Yes, that's
or
exactly
something to
right.
that
Yeah,
degree.
yeah.
Yeah. And as everybody was like talking about ICE and stuff, and
Well,
we
yeah,
even had go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
just gonna say it's just funny because, you know, the world has definitely changed and you can't very easily steal land anymore, and that's the fucking point. Like, we don't want you to come in and steal the land and change the American values. We want you to come in because you appreciate the American values, and that's what you wanna be, and you're
Such a
welcome here. Dude,
right
no,
wing
that's not, it's just
podcast.
common
No,
sense.
it makes sense, but it's like we're like literally we might as well just get jobs on Fox News after this is done. Just be fucking hammering the desk like I hate that I've turned into a conservative, but it is what it is.
I think we're I don't wanna say I think we're different than today's conservative. I think we're
Yeah.
more as America first. And I don't
Common
always think
sense.
that yeah, make
It's all
common
it
sense
is
great again.
it's common sense. It's common sense when you've been lied to is hard. It's hard to call it common sense when you're in the weeds and you're seeing things a certain way that you've been programmed to think. It takes a lot for you to realize that you've been lied to. That's
I
a
think it
hard
takes a
thing to
lot
come
to
to.
accept it, right?
That's what I mean. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can hear it all the time and people telling you they're lying to you and you just go, "Oh, you're a conspiracy nut. I don't believe that." But then to really realize like what if they all were lying to me? What if it all was like a
Yeah,
big grand thing
what's
where
wrong
they're
with
lying?
questioning it? I don't understand that.
Well, what's wrong with questioning it is that it's destabilizing to people to question things like that.
But who wants to just
It's
be
destable.
constantly told what to do?
No, it's destabilizing to say the big powers that be are against you. Like the first time even that thought even crosses your mind, it's like that's impossible because life is so easy and comfortable, right? Like life is so easy and comfortable that the thought that these people are not acting in my best interest is like hard for me to wrap my mind around. I guess that was my first thought because when you're poor on one hand you like don't have anything to really see that they're like taking your shit because you don't have anything to be taken, so all you're getting is handouts and stuff, like basically the mentality that you have if you don't have money is that the gatekeepers are the people that you know that have money, and the government is your friend who's trying to pry the money out of those people's hands and give it to you. So the reason you're not successful is not the government, it's these other people who have everything, and you are fighting with the other people, not with the you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
So that when you're told the government's actually your enemy, it's like, no, fuck you, rich guy. You're the problem. They're the ones giving me help to keep me from falling under the water.
Yeah,
That's how
until
you
you
see the
change the
Democrats.
administration. Right, exactly, yeah. Because I was
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you're a Democrat and they're like, we want to give, like these, they want to kick out the immigrants. They want to take away your, like your checks, your whatever. We're going to give you checks. We're going to like cut the rich people's money, and they keep trying to stop us. They're the dickheads. We're the ones who are keeping you from running out of money. If it was up to them, you'd be fucking completely destitute and they wouldn't do anything to help you. And that is kind of evidenced by the right. Unfortunately, the way the right behaves is where they turn around and they say, "Yeah, you know what? Fuck you. I wouldn't help you." That's kind of it becomes the attitude on the right. Like
I
cut
look at it
this, cut
a
that, cut
little
that.
differently. I
No, I'm
look
just
at
saying
it
that's the
no,
view.
I
They
got you.
don't
No, I got you.
the
Yeah,
the
yeah.
right doesn't help enough to like to defend against what the left is saying about them, which is that they don't care about anybody. You know what I mean?
Right. But
There's
when
not
they
enough
do and you
obvious.
change, let's say you change the food pyramid and you change vaccine schedules, like I like RFK cares, in my opinion. Like he cares and he wants us to like, hey, let's cut back on freaking vaccines that are not important. Let's slow it down. Like I don't what I don't understand and my what I was trying to say earlier is that why can't you question these things? Like why can't you be okay with questioning the fact that there are potentially and probably vaccines that cause like autism, right? Like why do you look at the rate that just jumped so high when people say, "Oh, it's because we didn't know back then." It's like, "No, that's not true. That's definitely not true. We would have seen signs." So when you get upset that he wants to reduce vaccines or expand the schedule so that, we're not seeing this huge increase in autism. I just don't understand why it's not okay to question that. Like, if you have an
It's
autistic
because
child, wouldn't you wanna know
yeah,
why? You just think that they were just born that way? Well, maybe, but let's fucking find out.
they see it as they don't see it as being open to question. And I guess maybe that's the little niche that we're trying to kind of hit with our podcast is we're not partisan in the sense that we consider ourselves conservative or democrat, and because we're kind of like liberated from that constant the way that things split apart between those two parties. It is okay to question things, but in order to question things you have to not think one side's the devil and the other side's an
Yeah.
angel,
An angel,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah, you have to be able to say both sides are kind of dickheads, you know?
Agreed, yeah.
And then when they're like doing something good, you just say like, yeah, that is a good thing. I agree with that. You shouldn't just, you know, you shouldn't be shackled to like whatever party you consistently agree with if the other side's doing good things. I mean, that's why I switched to become a conservative to begin with, is because like I just saw more and more of the things I agreed with being like adopted by the right, and then eventually I was like, I can't, there's no way I can like be on this side anymore. I just don't
Right.
see it. And then once I switched, I became more comfortable to then like question everything on the left, because
Yeah.
I would no longer identified myself as on the left anymore.
Well, it doesn't help that the posts keep shifting, right? Like, you could argue today that we're probably way more liberal than we would have been in, like, the '70s, right? Because 'Cause we're like, less government and let me do whatever I wanna do and stop, like, freaking mandating these things, and that's literally what, like, the liberals and hippies used to do, and now it's like, "Oh, government said to stay inside, put your mask on, get a vaccine, blah, blah, blah." Like, now they're all like, "Whatever you say." And then we went from, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and people saying, "Do like listen to us, like we're trying to protect you," to then the polar opposite of, "Nah, that shit was BS." Like don't get all these boosters and vaccines, and these masks actually don't work. It's like because everything just shifts, and then the like polar opposite
Yeah, how do
just
you
causes
believe
so
anything?
much division. Yeah,
Well, how
yeah,
can you believe anything when but then that's why it's easier to just pick a team and say they're the ones who are telling the truth and the other people are lying.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So as
instead of
long as
just
if
thinking
you're a
for yourself.
Democrat, it's some kind of ground underneath your feet to an extent. Because if you're a Democrat, then you're like, all right, I know like I side with these guys. So then the other guys, I just don't have to believe them. And the same thing as a conservative. I know I side with these guys, so then I don't have to like really give a fuck what the other side's saying. They're just
Yeah.
lying all the
And
time.
also, I need to argue with everything that you believe in. That's
Yeah.
also when you align yourself, that's what you tell yourself. Well, you don't tell yourself, but that's definitely what you do. To
So,
where
but then
now
when
we
you were,
have more and
yeah,
more young people, especially young men, coming out and wanting more transparency and questioning things and going to religion, like, more than ever. Like, I feel like we're actually headed towards potentially a positive direction as long as we keep transparency up, we keep people questioning things. As long as you question stuff, you're not going to get away with everything.
I was gonna say Yes, I agree. Let's talk about the institutions because that's where really all of the mandates and all of the rules and stuff that you follow end up coming from. Like, I wouldn't say that the okay, let me backtrack on that. Conservatives actually kind of have a value system that exists outside of the political system. You know what I mean? They have like religion, they have
Oh, sure.
certain thing like if you're that's why people say I'm a conservative Christian and I think it's like I'm grounded in something that I follow above politics, right?
Mhm.
So if my politics starts to not accept my religious uh, structure, I know that I no longer agree with my politics. It gives you perspective because it's a little separation.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Whereas on the left, they're all politics all the time. It's
Correct.
all of
Yeah.
everything they believe comes from a source, and I don't really know what that source believes because it's
Th-
not written down
it's
anywhere.
their identity, right?
Yeah,
Is
and
the
it but
politics.
it's the what was the word I just used? I don't even remember. It's where it comes from. It's the source of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whoever's
Yeah. Yeah.
writing the rules is who they agree with. And that's what's so scary about the left.
Yeah.
Because whatever this establishment thing is where they're getting their shit from that they then go on the Grammys and everyone says the same fucking thing about ICE and then that just reinforces the ideology more because you have all the celebrity class saying the same thing but it's not really like evidenced or coming from anywhere. That's why that argument is so fucking dumb when you say you can't be an illegal on stolen land because she's trying to ground it in some kind of a logical argument, but it's fucking not because that
What they
falls apart
do,
in like two
yeah,
seconds.
they demand that you agree with them, otherwise they diagnose you. They'll diagnose you as a racist, a misogynist, a sexist, all the
Yeah.
issists. Because they don't actually talk about things. They're like, if you don't agree, there's something wrong with you, and everything I think is right, and that's so frustrating. Because it
Well,
used
there's
to
definitely
be
a
that
lot of them
they're
like that. Yeah.
right. Well, the ones you see on TV, right? The like, unfortunately, and that goes also for the right, But the point is, like, you gotta question shit. Just
But
stop
where's
being
the
told what to think.
right? So, but that's the point that I'm trying to make is where is your like where's your foundational shit coming from? Like what's your true argument as opposed to like what you just said, which is if you disagree with me, you are a piece of shit. Like what's the rationality and does that rationality like actually have any kind of like basis in anything?
No,
Like
especially with
why
what
why?
well, with people like Billie Eilish and people that listen to her, they what they hear is some of the most, like, basic argument. They hear, "Oh, America came in, or I'm sorry, white people came in and they stole the land from Native Americans. And so we should then accept everybody." Instead of the actual rational thinking of, "Sure, we can say that happened, but shit has changed. And if you don't want that to happen again, we have a set of rules and boundaries and borders that you can't cross illegally." And we're not the only country that does that.
And
But
so
but instead, you just hear the most basic argument from what, 850 years ago, or whatever the hell, 550 years ago, like, so stupid.
the argument has I think has its origins in Marxism. I think all of that shit comes from Marxism.
Which is also just a very old idea anyway.
It's to destroy the pillars of society so that you can rebuild like a utopia where everyone gets free shit. That's what the Marxism is like. Take away power from the people who hold power and redistribute it evenly amongst everyone, right?
Which is so funny because
It's
what I hear
psychotic.
is to give the government more power.
Well, you have to give someone, right? You have to give someone power. If you're going to distribute the money, someone's got to be the one doing the distributing.
Yeah. And I don't understand how you can think that's okay. That they're like, you're basically asking for a king, and
You know
all you're
why
out
they
there
you know
saying no
why
kings.
you know why they would say that's okay? Because they think idealistically rather than logically. Because
Right.
if you ask someone, if you were put in this situation, Billie Eilish, where everyone had to put all their money in a big pool, right? We're all taking everybody's money, we're putting it together, everyone's getting a piece of it. That's going to leave you with roughly $20, right? But it's enough to buy your food. Okay? You in? She would say, "Yes, I'm in. I would do that." Like if you asked her today, "Would you commit to this system right fucking now? Sign it on the line." She'd be like, "I would do that."
Of
But
course
she
she'd
wouldn't
say
do
that.
that. And
No.
some of them would do it. Some of them, but that's the difference. Some of them would, and then
Yeah,
they
the
would
people that
instantly,
freaking work
they would
at
in, well, okay, yeah, the poor people would,
yeah.
but some rich people, I think, would do it too because they're so idealistic that they don't see the danger that's like just only a couple steps ahead of them, and they're the ones that'll walk us right off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
Yeah,
the
I do,
ones who
yeah.
will just, and then there are those ones who are the narcissists in that group, and I think there's a lot of those too who think, well, yeah, we can do that, but I'll be the one who's in charge. I'm not going to be one of those other people. And those are like the politicians, right? They're the ones who are like anything I got to say to get ahead in my political career.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if everyone becomes serfs. Like I'll still be at the top. But it's like they're the ones who get killed. As soon as the revolution happens, they're the ones who get their heads chopped off first.
Yeah. It's like
So
like, it's just funny when I think it was like either like Selena Gomez or Ariana Grande who were like crying on their phone, like, "I don't know what to do. I don't know how I can help." It's like, "You've
Ariana
got
Grande,
lots of
I
money."
think.
Yeah. "You've
I
got
think that's
lots
true.
of money. How about you make your people better by sending all your money to Mexico?"
A lot of those celebrity people are like, I would say she seems kind of sick to me, like physically not well.
Now, yeah, for sure.
Mentally and physically, she doesn't seem very healthy to me. And that's, they just, a lot of these people don't strike me as the kinds of people that you should be getting your advice from. And unfortunately, they're the ones who can have the audience to like speak, their minds and things like that.
Yeah, and then as soon as an opposing famous person comes out, like, then they're just attacked so hard. But that's
Yeah,
why
you
you
have to
see a
shut
lot
up.
of yeah, and you see a lot of them, like, leaving, especially just leaving California, and then, I don't know, was it, like, Mark Wahlberg or something who's like, "I'm gonna start my own Hollywood type
He
thing."
went to Vegas, I think.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. I'll probably end up watching that more than Disney.
Yeah, I don't watch Disney anymore, man.
I know you hate Marvel.
I don't. Yeah, well, I don't care for any of their stuff. So,
Yeah, no, it's gross. I mean, even if you start thinking about when we were kids, they'd be like, "Did have you seen the original cover of The Little Mermaid?" Like,
oh,
if you're
with the
if you're
dick in the
assuming
back.
yeah, and assuming that stuff is real, you're like, "Yeah, they've been disgusting forever." The reason why I won't definitively say that that is a real cover is because 'cause I've never held one in my hand. I've
Well,
never
I think that
seen
it
one.
is. They did sneak stuff into old Disney movies, but that was like a perverted animator that was, or somebody who was trying to like be a fucker
Yeah, yeah, that's
because
true,
they were just
potentially.
painting their shit.
But,
They were painting plates all day, so they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna
well, you
sneak
think
this
about
shit in."
what Nickelodeon did to all those young kids,
Yes.
Like, it's just it's
I don't think
poison.
there was a bunch of kids around the animators, though. I think the animators were in a room with a bunch of other old people. Like,
Yeah, but, I'm just making a point of that it's not that you can definitely argue that it was intentionally perverted, but maybe not. Maybe they'd rather be a little bit more secretive, but who the hell is not catching that? I don't know.
well, yeah, I think what you're talking about is that like Hollywood in general is a like a hotbed for predatorial type people
Right,
in
yeah.
general. I think that's just the producers, the directors, and all that. They're the ones who make the decision about who gets their face on camera and who doesn't. So,
Mhm.
and so many people want to be famous that they will do any. You'll find people that are willing to do just about anything for a chance to be famous.
Yeah, but why is it that there's so many fucked up adults that wanna participate in that? And I think the answer to my own question is that
Oh,
when you
excuse me.
get used to a certain lifestyle, you always want a little bit more, right? You're like, "Okay, I gotta keep moving on up." And then you get these people that basically can get whatever they want. They're like, "Well, now I need something that I'm not supposed to have." And I think that's
There's
what really
definitely that.
builds these sickos.
There's definitely that. There are that's in like yeah, all kinds of like people who pursue power are just looking for they're like looking for thrills and they don't really have a moral compass. You don't get a lot of people don't get powerful by behaving in a moral way.
Right, well, think about the people that have defected from Hollywood or left. Well, you know what they have in common is
I'm yawning a bunch. Go
religion.
ahead.
They actually have some faith in something else and an actual set of, like we've talked before, what's good, what's evil, what are some actual ground rules for life. And then on the opposing side, they definitely do not believe in any sort of higher power unless
Yeah,
it's
and even if
Satan.
you do believe to some extent. I think as you go along the way, you get corrupted more and more. You sacrifice more and more of your beliefs for like what you want in the moment, right? Like
Right.
if you want to like whatever cheat on your spouse or something like that, you know it's right. If you're a Christian or whatever, like a person who's moral, you know that that's not the right thing to do. But if you decide you don't give a fuck and you do it anyways, and you keep doing stuff like that, you're not going to have the values anymore at a certain point. You're
Right.
going to have
Right.
gotten rid of those values, especially if you're rewarded for the shit that you're doing when you're doing bad stuff,
Of
you
course,
know?
yeah. Yeah, so yeah,
So,
you're saying like there's probably a good chance that some of these people in Hollywood at some point might have started off as good faith, really good people, maybe had some, religious background, but as soon as they start beating their morals down, and
yeah,
that's how they become the, bad
I
people.
I think a lot of people, I would almost argue, okay, maybe not all people are born with like a certain understanding. Yeah, I think a lot of people have an understanding of what's right and what's wrong, and they have a conscience, when they're young, but then as they go along, they start to like ignore their conscience more and more. I think it's still in there, and I think that's why they argue so hard when you say, "Hey, what you're doing isn't right." It's like they fucking know. That's why they're gonna fight with you about it.
Oh yeah, because they're being
You know what I
called
mean?
out even
If you
though
didn't
yeah,
give a
yeah.
shit, you'd be like, well, who gives a fuck? And there's no such thing as good or bad. Like, no, you still want to argue. A lot of times, these people want to argue that there is a right and wrong, but it's relative thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just that it's that you're not right about what's right and wrong. That's what they'll argue. They're not going to argue that like they can just should just be hedonistic
Right, they wanna
pieces of
justify their
shit.
own behaviors.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're still arguing that their morals do exist. It's just that your morals are not the correct set of morals, or morals are relative. We all have our own different morals. It's like they won't ever just they won't ever just say out loud if they're like hedonists that like actually I don't believe in morals, right? I don't believe in right and wrong. I think everything is on the table and I'm willing to do anything that makes me feel good. Like most people don't say that out
Yeah,
loud
agreed, yeah. Yeah.
because that's fucking psychotic, you know?
Yeah, and you made a good point, you're talking about how, like, when you're younger, you have probably, a basic set of morals, and then that's because you probably had some decent parents who were in set like, they were giving you these good morals to stand by, but as you become older and start bending the rules,
Yeah.
you
And if
know
you're around, it's not even just your parents, it's like your social circle, your school, your teachers, whatever. If
Mhm.
someone catches you, we all have a pretty, we have a pretty, or had, this is probably what's going wrong now. We had some collective understanding about what was right and what was wrong. I still think to a degree when it comes to like simple things we do. Like if you caught a kid stealing another kid's lunch at school, everyone probably would agree that that's wrong
Right.
if he was, or that, you know, whatever, punching another kid or whatever. Everyone in the school would turn to that kid and be like, hey, you're being a dick. And it would, the shame you would feel from everyone saying that would be kind of like, and you would know like, oh man, I just like alienated myself from the pack or whatever. But
Yeah.
like those kinds of people that want to continue to behave like that, they have to reframe their whole existence. And so they probably just, I don't know what, you become like liars, you become good at hiding your bad shit, better at hiding it, and then you just try not to ever let anyone catch you doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's funny. That made me think of, back in high school, I was playing 21, or it was a basketball game, and Nick Stewart and Matt Barber got in a fight, and and Nick Stewart, like, hit him straight in the
Uh,
jaw, like, I think he, like, broke his tooth or whatever,
Yeah, he
everybody
knocked his
saw it.
teeth like in sideways. They had to go
Yeah,
get him.
and then they had to do their investigation, like, they brought me back into that old, weightlifting room, was like, "Did you see it?" Be like, "Nope, didn't see it." Stitches or
Because
the
everyone
stitches get
knew
stitches.
Nick was wrong though.
Well, yes and no. Nick was just easily agitated, but Matt Barber would try to do that too. But it's like Nick was definitely, well, they were gonna fight. And so basically what happened was Nick won the fight. But Matt
Well,
Barber,
what
and I don't want to stick up for Nick Sir because I will go on record right now as saying I do not like him.
should we even
uh,
be mentioning these people's names?
I don't care. These people, what do
Okay.
they? Yeah, these whatever. These people are not in my life.
What I what I heard was that Matt was saying, "You gonna hit me? You gonna hit me?" And Nick said, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face." And he said, "Okay, go ahead." And he said, "Okay, are you ready? I'm gonna hit you." And Matt was like, "Yeah, okay, go ahead and do it." And then Nick hauled off as hard as he could and
It was a
punched
lot
Matt in the
faster
face.
than that.
Something like
Yeah.
that, though, right?
Y
Which makes Nick
I
the
honestly
asshole.
don't remember. Well, yeah, but why
Jesse told me this story too.
oh, yeah, that's a real reliable source right there. Oh, wait,
Well,
never mind. Different Jesse. I was thinking
yeah, why would you put your face out? Yeah, duh. But
yeah,
if
fuck
someone
around and
does
find
put
out.
their face out, you don't, and they're not defending themselves, you don't hit
Yeah.
them as hard as
Yeah,
you
but
can in the face.
that
I know how Nick
everybody would know
was.
that, yeah, Nick's not gonna be he wasn't gonna be considered wanted to be considered a bitch for not following through with what he said he was gonna do. But that's
I
because he didn't
wouldn't
have
be
any
able to hit
morals.
someone as hard as I could in the face if they were just standing there to be
Same, I couldn't
punched.
either. No, I really couldn't.
Yeah.
No.
So we had a little moral debate there.
Yeah, we kinda did,
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. There's like those. So on one hand, we're talking about the morals of people who run, Fortune 500 companies or run Hollywood or other like, there are other people at high levels of power and how they kind of like probably have to hide their deviant behavior from people because they know, right, they'll get in trouble for it.
Right.
Maybe they don't even think rationally about whether it's moral or not anymore. They're just existing in a purely like pleasure state. They're like, well,
Yeah, and
I
they feel
enjoy
probably
this,
protected.
but they don't
Eh,
think about it morally anymore. They don't even consider the moral because they've broken it so many times. They've suppressed the guilt part of their,
That's so
whatever
gross.
guilt reflex they had is
Yeah,
gone now, and they're just like, this is gonna make me like get my dick hard, and I like getting my dick hard. That's probably
that
all that's in their head at that moment.
really
And
does make
then
me wanna throw up sometimes.
Yeah, and then on the other side of things, we're talking about people who are normal people who are behaving in a way that is not morally correct, and they're not people in high levels of power. And those are the ones I think who are more inclined to get on a moral soapbox and argue with you about the morality of the stuff they're doing versus these people who don't even want you to know they do it, right? You have other people at lower levels who would then try to make a case for themselves, and in that way I'm talking about people who are like they're morally on the left. So they're like, you know, the left is the ones who are taboo pushers, taboo
Right,
breakers. They're the ones who like challenge pre-established
for
views
sure.
of like what's moral and what's not. So you have those people who will sit there and argue with you, and I would argue that some of those people know that their behavior is not correct. I think
You think so?
some of them do. I just don't know why
What, then
you
you
would
just wanna die on your hill?
I just don't know why you would argue so much if you didn't on some level feel the need to prove yourself to somebody
No, I think that's true.
to justify your decision
I think that part's true, but I don't think that means that they don't think that there's part
that
of
they
them
don't
that
think
thinks
they're
they're
right.
wrong. I think they all think they're right. I think
You
they
think
think
so?
they're yeah, I do. I mean, for the most part, like, you're willing to lose family and friends over stuff means that to me that you will die on your hill of
Dude, I don't know.
righteousness.
I've seen some crazy shit of denial though. I've
Like
seen
what?
some crazy denial before. Well, right off the bat, I'll just say like working in my as a self-employed person, I've seen I've had a lot of people who have not paid me and then have come up with all kinds of
Yep, okay.
excuses about
Even though
why.
they probably know they should
They
have paid you,
know
yeah.
that they were
Yeah,
supposed to pay me, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it's just been like something happened, I forgot." Or usually, then if they say they'll say they forgot to save face, and then if they continue to not be able to pay, then it'll be another story about how shit's just really hard for them right now. But then
right.
I saw them at like the movie theater with their kids or whatever. And so it's like, oh, I see. So you do have money, and that's what I'm talking about. There's a sense of like denial that I've seen from running a business. That's like I do think that they convince themselves they're right, but I also think you have to kind of know you're wrong.
I think that is a great example, but I was more so thinking about because we were kind of on that plane, like, politics.
Yeah, but if
D
you
So do you
continue,
have an
if you
example of what you think like, there's a difference between changing someone's mind, of course, but what is an example of somebody who they know that it's not well, you know what?
politically,
Yeah, I was gonna go politically, but I also think
let's
they will make
say
that argument just to make sure people know that they're on their side or they know that yeah.
I was gonna say politically speaking, I think you could say back when we were in high school or whatever and people were coming out as like gay
Yeah, mostly
and
girls.
and I felt like there was some sense of like them feeling um
Pressure.
morally torn about whether it was right or wrong, or actually let's get away from that because I don't even know how I gay is fine. I don't want to get into that. Gay people are
Yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Let's stay away from
I
that.
know what you're saying, yeah.
Let's talk about sluts. Let's talk about being sexually promiscuous,
Mm,
right?
I already know where you're going. I like it.
I don't even feel like I need to make an argument. I think you
Right,
already know, right?
right,
If you behave promiscuously, I think on some level you know you're getting away from morally where you should be.
right.
However, there's a million arguments on the left for female empowerment, men too, right? Whatever, behaving, watching porn, whatever, justifying all of this stuff when you know it's not right and you actually feel guilty about it. You're just kind of like ignoring that. You're like, what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know. I
If
think
you
that's a fair
felt
point too.
comfortable about being a whore, you wouldn't need to fight with me about it.
Agreed. No, I
You know what
agree.
I mean?
Yeah, but
So I
you
would
know
say
they know
that,
that's yeah.
yeah, you know that they don't feel good about that, and there's something going on there, and they're acting it out in a really strange way. They're looking for
Unhealthy.
validation.
Yeah.
They want people to tell them they're pretty. They're looking for, whatever. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on, and then they're just saying, well, I'm entitled to do this. Why can't I do this? Men do it. Why can't women do
Mhm.
it and stuff? And that kind of thing. Well, I think that you can then extend that argument probably to like arguments that get political more other arguments that get political traction. I think there's some sense of like when you're breaking the rules, you know you're doing it. The problem is that then you have an institution that gets behind the people on doing that thing and build a whole like scaffold out a whole infrastructure that tells you a permission system that tells you what you're doing is okay. And then that gives the people the rationale for them to go, I'm going to override my morals on this one because this is what I was looking for the whole time. I just wanted somebody to tell me it was okay. And now I have official sources telling me it's okay. I have the celebrities telling me it's okay. I have the medical establishment telling me it's okay. I have all the permission I need. I don't need to worry about that anymore.
I
And
guess
that's why
then you
they'll
just gotta
fight.
make the argument,
Yeah.
do they believe that?
And that's my argument. Yeah. Do they
Yeah.
believe it or do they know still that they're wrong? And I think that they know
And
they're
that they're
wrong.
going towards kind of what we said earlier, they're going towards breaking the establishment. It's like, okay, I can get behind a couple of things I don't agree with just to make sure we all go for that same common goal, or what
Mm.
you think is common goal. So you're okay with breaking some of your morals as long as we get to that place that we wanted to.
Hmm.
Does that sum it up?
Yeah, I think so.
I
I
gotta pee.
guess. You want to pause?
Yeah, quick pause.
And then you got me thinking about more of that, like the the
That's all I
the
do. I'm just
more
your catalyst. Your catalyst
no
to great rants, great
the more
monologues.
the morality of these people who if we go back, take this argument back to the Grammys and say, do they know what they're arguing is wrong? And I think that they've managed in a lot of cases to find a kernel of truth to cling to that helps them justify or cement their opinions. Like each of these arguments that they make or whatever, each argument that a person on the left makes that breaks with tradition and taboo and goes against our conventions, they justify it on one hand because they have the scaffolding of like their establishment 100% behind it. But then on top of that, they find some thread or kernel of truth in their point. Because like I think last time we talked about in politics, we're supposed to pick the thing that is the more correct or the least wrong of the two sides because every
Right.
side has damage and positive effects, and so one might be only be like marginally better than the other proposed solution to any given problem. One might only have a slightly less amount of damage than the other one, but we should always pick the one that has like the most positive outcome, even
It's
if
also
there's
what yeah, and what feels most important to you in your scenario and your life choices and your life path. Like,
yeah,
th
how do we come to that conclusion? Is it I think it's the greatest good for it's the most good for the greatest number of people, right? That would be the best way to do it.
yeah, we just all have or not all, we just have different opinions on how that happens.
Well,
Uh,
there should statistically, if you say like, how do we do it? And it's the greatest good for the most amount of people, that should be something you can like evidence. You know what I mean?
yeah, but we try to do that all the time.
So there's like lying and stuff, or there's like assumptions made on like how things are going to be played
Well,
out.
just if let's go down the trans route for a moment. If we believe, I know you agree with me, that we should not be indoctrinating children and their parents should know, like in Washington State, for instance, if you're a teacher's allowed to have private conversations with their child about becoming trans and they don't have to tell the parents. So they're like, basically, it's okay to let for the teachers and all that personnel to guide your child into becoming a trans person without your parents knowing, right? And so you and I argue that we want to keep trans information and stuff away from kids, but once they're 18, you do you, right? But the left does not all the left, most of the left disagrees. That's why they vote for this stuff. It's like, no, yeah, the kids need a safe space. Well, what I think is a safe space is a spot for somebody to manipulate my child into to doing something that I know they shouldn't be doing. So
Hmm.
sorry, does that not is it did I not make a
No,
point?
it's
Yeah,
just it is making a point. It's just it's making a more nuanced thing than what I like. If I propose the theory that we, like you said, if I propose the theory that the left is challenging pre-established norms and then trying to find whatever kernels of like helpful aspects or truth in their side of things, right? They're trying to find truth to justify challenging what we have already kind of established as like the norm and what we should be doing, and then they have to present their evidence of why we ought to like go against what we already are doing, which, and then you're now saying their evidence is where we have this argument, and each side, the left and the right, can both see their evidence as being helpful, right?
yeah, which
Like
is
the
like
left sees their evidence, they see providing kids safe spaces as being more helpful than harmful, and on the right, we see it as being harmful because you're,
right. So we think what's best for
yes,
the greater good is different, you know? And so but what I was gonna kinda try and ask
fucking
later, but I
politics,
just
man.
think there's no answer for this is like, what does the perfect candidate look like? And I can tell you there's not one because
Perfect candidate for what? For
for as
president?
a
Or
president,
for,
yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, for
Yeah,
offices? I
for
see what you're
any
saying.
office, right? What does a perfect candidate look like? Well, I would say that not I'd say most people would disagree on what that perfect candidate would be, and I think that that's the point, like, we'll never know what is best for the greater good because we have these different ideologies. So, w I don't know, we just and because of that and how things change, like, again, the goalposts just move constantly, and so we're never I really think that more than I don't see there being a time in our the way our system works where we're gonna see somebody that everybody loves. And it's mostly has to do with psychology and how like I was gonna say how stupid people are, but I don't know if that
Oh
makes
man, I'm
sense.
yawning like every
Yeah, what's in
five
your cup?
seconds. I don't know.
Just
I
drinking
just
straight
I
whiskey?
think I just got like, I don't know, low blood sugar today or something. My brain's not getting enough oxygen. Um yeah, I think you're right. There's like no way to form consensus, unfortunately, and
So the
it
whole point is
feels,
just to cause division so that we fight back and forth and try to convince some of the people in the middle, some maybe more of the morally ground people to sway from one side or the other, even though we know it's not perfect.
yeah, and so okay, let's look at this. You want to talk about the trans thing as an example. Um okay, if you are a doctor performing trans operations, or even let's say as an example, a doctor who's like staunchly advocating for a vaccine, or even like Anthony Fauci like promoting the vaccine on a global scale. So if you're a doctor performing trans operations, have you looked at the research for the people who want to detransition or the people who become depressed afterwards, or like can you like face the evidence, can you face the outcome of your um position like with a straight face without like flinching? And then I
Well,
would argue, yeah, I would
oh,
argue
yeah.
that like if we are, then I don't know about that one specifically, but then if we look at like Anthony Fauci and like testing vaccines on like African, you know, tribes and like people in Africa, like in like poverty stricken areas, like testing like the fucking, what was it? I don't know if it was Fauci or Bill Gates testing the oral versions of vaccines and giving a bunch of people like crazy like side effects, and then seeing those, getting that report back that shows how many people you then like, these are not safe. Or the mask thing. We've already talked about this, where it's like propose not wearing masks because you don't want the people to rush out and buy all the masks. So you openly like lie and advocate for something you disagree with to keep people from doing the thing that they were going to do. You know, do you kind of see what
Uh,
what I'm like searching for here?
a little. You
No,
kind of lost me with the
I
mask
think I
part
lost
because
myself a bit.
okay, it's a well, what I hear is again, it just goes back to your morals, right? Like, are you gonna be what I believe is that these doctors are were told that it's safe and they believe it because another doctor told them it was safe that apparently did the research.
I
And
think
maybe
people intentionally close their ears to
I
evidence that contradicts their
there's too
positions.
much money involved, I
Yeah.
think. Like,
So
for instance,
that's again, it brings us back to what my original point was, which is denial exists on a monumental level. Like it's such a huge scale that your denial exists. You're not even aware that the denial is taking place, but the denial
you're
is
not willing to
closing
face the
yourself off.
consequences
Yeah,
of disagreeing with the establishment.
closing yourself off to evidence that that contradicts what you said and hurts people. Like for me personally, I wouldn't want to be responsible for any decision that involved human casualties. I wouldn't want to do that. But if I did do that, I would want to look at all the evidence as much as possible and to play out as much of it as I possibly could to come to the best decision that I possibly could come up with, because I would know people on one side were going to die and people on the other side. There's no way to avoid people dying. So I need to like, that's a heavy decision. So
I
I
guess
got to
yeah.
investigate it 100%, right? And if I do that, I'm still not going to feel good about proposing my opinion because I'm going to know I could still be wrong and I could still hurt people. You know, people will be hurt and I could be wrong, and time may prove that I'm not right. So it would
Yeah,
not be a fun thing to say. But then to take it back to these other people who are making a lot of these decisions, I don't think they're putting that level of consideration into the decisions they're making.
no, they're like, "Let's pump this shit out and start making bank."
Yes.
Yeah,
I think every decision in theory should be given, especially when we're talking about um, like federal politics, like national politics or world politics or whatever. Anything that affects like a giant group of people deserves like a
extra
huge
consideration.
amount of consideration.
Yeah.
Even if it's a minute thing that you're adjusting, you're going to change the lives of countless people, and the ripple effects from that you can't even possibly imagine.
Yeah,
So
but on this on the flip side, when the consequences start falling, I just wish that people would accept blame or fault. You know, for instance, with the COVID vaccine, I can't believe we're talking about this again, but the amount of people that are especially young athletes that were dying on the field that all like that were getting the vaccine, like why can't we question that? Why do you just have to assume like that's not the problem?
because questioning it forces people to accept the fact that we're forced to make snap decisions and uninformed decisions and not be informed about the decision. We're forced to not investigate the decisions we want to make, because if we think about it, then we if we think about our decisions, then we're not letting them think for us, right?
Yeah,
So nobody
it's just
wants to think
gross,
about
dude.
it. They'd rather just say, "Well, this group told me to do it, and I think you're a liar. Therefore, I'm sticking with that."
I mean, how much better would the world be if people could admit when they're wrong?
Accountability.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine. Like I said before, I used to be that person that would argue about everything because I thought I was right. Now I really appreciate I appreciate changing my own mind, or people changing my mind more so.
Yeah, same.
Just
All
silly.
right, you know what time it is.
It's wheel time.
All right, folks, let's spin the wheel of whatever.
Spin the freewheel, let's put our small talk skill to the test. It's the whatever wheel. Whatever we'll talk about next.
Spinning that thing backwards every time.
Is that backwards? I think it's backwards
Look
too
at the
because the
way the
words are backwards.
arrow's going, man.
Well, what do you mean? It's pointing
Drinking.
down.
No, the
No,
arrow underneath the
it's
win.
vacation.
Underneath the win. That's what I said. Vacation. Look at the arrow underneath the win. You gotta whatever. Just spin it the wrong way.
You're right. You want me to redo?
No,
Because you
no,
don't
no,
want
no, no,
vacation. You want
no, no,
vacation?
no. Vacation's fine.
Okay, let's go.
Vacation's fine. Yeah,
Is that better for you?
yeah.
Well, I'm right-handed. Vacation and jealousy. I like that.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
I like that
combo.
a lot.
Yeah. I don't get jealous of where people go on vacation. I get jealous that they're able to take a vacation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't give a
I mean,
fuck about the place you went to. What I care about is that you're there and you're posting all this shit. And I'm like, when are you working? And do you really actually enjoy your vacation, or are you just trying to make me jealous? And it feels like a lot of that shit is you just trying to make me jealous.
I don't think I want people. I don't think that I try to make people jealous when I go on vacation.
Yeah, but you don't post yourself in like tropical.
Well, I did at the Bahamas, but it was
I'm
at
not
the
talking
end.
about
Yeah.
you. Don't do that at all. You're not that person. I don't get jealous when you're on vacation. I know you're going on vacation to enjoy your family. What I'm thinking about is there are certain types of people who, when they go on vacation, girls especially, make the way they frame their photos and like make it look like they're always on vacation. They make it look like they're always doing
That's
it
true.
and stuff. They're creating this like false reality that then in turn is the whole thing is designed to make other people jealous.
Other people jealous. Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
then,
it's
and when you're doing it, like if you're going to go on vacation, like for a week, right? And every day you're posting shit. One, I'm going to get exhausted. But two, like you said, you're trying to make people maybe jealous or see that you're living your best life, which is funny because is social media still in here? No, that's an old one. But it makes me think about social media and how people think when you see somebody's life on social media, you're like, damn, they have such a good life.
yeah, I try not to post like shit that could be perceived as like flaunting on my social media. I try to avoid posting like my new shit. Like I know it's healthy to a certain extent. Like sometimes I think I go overboard because I think sometimes it is good to like brag a little bit when you've got something that you worked hard for, an accomplishment or whatever.
Yeah.
That's good. But I go the opposite direction because I'm so tired of people shoving their stuff in my face that if I get something new or cool, I'm like, I'm not posting that shit because I don't want to be that guy. And I don't actually even want you to know I have shit. And if
Yeah.
you meet me, I actually want you to think the opposite of I have money. Like if somebody starts talking about money and shit that they have and they're not my friends, I'm going to try to convince you I'm
Broke.
like, yeah, I'm gonna just tell you I'm a fucking redneck and I don't have anything. I really don't give, I'm like, oh,
also
cool,
makes
you got
sense.
that?
It makes sense because
Your money holds no power over me.
Yeah, and also as a business owner, when people see like, oh, Nick has this, and this, I wonder if I can get some free pictures out of him or something. there's that too. And so it's smart for you to keep that stuff close. But what I also was going to say is that I realized as I've gotten older, I do not want to share a lot of this stuff. What I like to share is my love for my wife and my kids and my dogs and my cat. Like that's what I find important. Like let me post that stuff. But literally 5 years ago, I got that travel trailer and I posted that shit online. But I was like, also, it's just different. Like it's just like, hey, look at my new life and look how happy I am.
And I think that's totally fine, and I probably ought to do more of that. I think some of it actually just comes from the fact that you actually have a connection with some of the people that follow you on social media. So you're posting it knowing the people that you're actually thinking about seeing these things,
And they
as
care.
opposed to people that just have like they try to amass as many followers as they can. They don't even know them on a personal basis, and then they're like, "Let me fuel my ego by creating as much jealousy as I possibly can," you know.
Yeah.
And
Actually,
it makes them feel better about their lives because they're not living a great life, but Instagram thinks they are, so then they're able to be like, that gives them an extra little boost.
agreed. I totally agree. Another thing I was just thinking about was that I can sit here and I'll be like, hey, last year I went to North Carolina and then I went to Vegas and then next week I'm going to Florida. You know what people don't think about though? I'm using miles. Like they're like, oh God, you have so much money. No, I'm using miles. I'm shopping deals. I'm on Expedia. I'm staying at the shitty hotels.
And that kind of stuff is important. I think that is important as an antidote to what I'm referring to, because that's reality, and that's going to tell other people how to get what you. Most of these people that I'm talking about are gatekeepers. They want to keep you from experiencing it, because if you have it, then it's no longer special for them to post it. So they're going to be like mysterious about how they're doing it. Like what you're talking about is actually good. That's a good use of it because.
Agreed. Yeah.
Because then other people who are like, well, I wish I could go on vacation. Oh, their Mark points out that he's using miles. Maybe I can get some miles.
Yeah.
Maybe
Get
it is
yourself the
within
last
the
pay of those
realm of
credit cards. Yeah.
possibility. Like, that's the thing that we should all be doing is like, if you have something, we should open the floor for people to like, help build other people up. Don't try to keep them underneath you.
Yeah. Well, I guess though I sit here and I'm like, well, don't people know about miles? And don't people know
Yeah.
about things like Expedia and grouping
But
things?
jealous people that don't have anything or have no like these are the people I'm talking about that think that the establishment is their friend and that people who have money are their enemy, and they're going to look at you and they're going to think that guy's my fucking enemy because he has all the stuff I want. He must be gaming the system or something. Like, to show people to lay it out honestly for them and be like, no, I'm not. I'm like, you could do this. It's not,
Where
like, yeah,
I
it
like to
seems normal to us, but not for everyone.
right. Where I like to turn the page, though, is when I see people bitching about or talking about how hard their life is, but then, 2 weeks later, you see them on a beach somewhere.
Do you see that often?
I do see that often. But it's just funny to see people. There's
Don't
I don't
appreciate
know.
what they
I
have.
don't know how many types of people there are. When I think of it, I'm like, okay, there's the type of person that bitches about their life, and then you see them on vacation. The person that
Well,
bitches
that would
about
be
their
me.
life.
I'm that guy.
You don't do that on social media, though. You're not bitching about your life. That's what I
No.
mean. You bitch about your life on social media, and then you go on vacation. Or there's people that are like, my life's fucking perfect, and I go on vacation, but they're not. Their life's not perfect. 3 weeks later, you see they're getting a divorce or whatever. And then what I like to think is me, where I'm like, I like to just share my happy experiences, and I do not want to talk about negative
Yeah,
things.
there's
I
not
will say
an
I've done that.
agenda. There's not
Yeah,
an
no
agenda.
agenda. I posted something very still dear to my heart when Charlie Kirk died. But I'm not sitting here constantly posting this bullshit and it just makes it makes it look like your life is so miserable. And then in a couple of weeks, you'll see I went to Florida.
Yeah, I think those are like two opposite ends of the spectrum. You got the people who are very cultivated and calculated, and those are the ones who will not let you see any of their weakness, but only just try to like project their strength and prestige and money, luxury all the time. Like they're constantly on this like, defense, like preventing you from seeing anything that could be perceived as weakness. And then you have the people that are like absolutely oblivious and blind to how good they have it. They have no sense of like where they stand in society, and those people make you mad too, because you're like, dude, I wish I had half of what you have.
Right.
And they're just absolutely oblivious and ungrateful. They just think they're miserable. Yeah. So those are two polar ends of things, but each equally annoying.
Agreed. Yeah.
I will
And
say,
then there's us in the middle. I would say.
I really like people who are honest. I like people who are honest about. It makes me, when I see what I would like to see of someone on vacation, and what would not make me jealous, and what might make me cry, is when somebody then doesn't get that stuff often and goes out and does something really cool and fun, and then turns around and says like, honestly, like I don't have a lot of, I don't like, is honest about like their situation. Like for me, this is a really big deal to get to do this.
As long as you're not too honest, though. You know what I mean?
But
like,
there's no
bitching about
pretentious
things constantly. Yeah.
No. I mean that there's no pretentiousness. There's no calculate. Like you see them enjoying something and they're thoroughly actually enjoying it because for them that is an experience, right?
Yeah.
Like I like that. I don't like if I get a hint of somebody. Actually, that reminds me of a videos Hannah was showing me of people like doing travel blogs and stuff. And there's certain people that do those where I feel like it's a character and I don't like it. Where they're going out and they're having fun, but it's like always like, yeah. And it's like, stop fucking performing for me and just actually give me an honest, critical breakdown of how that experience was
going. Yeah.
I know there's like a fake it till you make it thing that a lot of successful people have where they're like, don't fucking bitch and just be happy and you will be happy. But like seeing people constantly on all the time doing that, it's fucking annoying. I don't know. Maybe that is part of my like hater side. Why I like to see people be a tiny
more
bit
genuine. Just be genuine.
More broken and to a degree where you're like, or like just a little bit of like of a weakness to show me that you're a human, right? I like to see some kind of a weakness. You don't have to, like you said, you don't have to lay it all out for me and be like, I'm a human piece of shit and I have nothing.
Yeah,
like,
make fun of yourself a little bit while you're on the most amazing experience.
I had a teacher that was super arrogant in college, and he was always, like, even his speaking voice, there was a pretentiousness about it, and it was always like this poetic, like, he almost spoke like this, and he always spoke in a very, like, cultivated manner. It's like, why are you talking like, just talk normal?
Yeah, there's no way you'd actually.
Why you got to be like you're reading an audiobook, like a really sophisticated like audiobook. But then I remember we started goofing on him one time in class. I just thought he was the most arrogant prick in the world. And then we started goofing on him in class one time. And we were kind of like making fun of him for being fat. And he got in on it and he started making fun of himself.
You liked him more.
And I was like, I like you now. That's fucking funny that you did that. That tells me that you are a real person willing to like, You've
also probably fake that pretentiousness voice into reality as well.
I think so. I think part of it is just learning to understand the vast variety of people that exist in the world. Hey, this is great. This is how we ended our last one. So we can bring this full circle where it starts out ranting about people being kind of like cultivated and making you jealous, but then also realizing there are people who thoroughly really fucking enjoy those vacations and are not faking and and that might come across pretentious or fake to me, right? But maybe that's just like you said, they faked it into existence. That's who they are. And they're like, really enjoying shit.
Yeah. So, I think
who am I to judge?
I just like to post things that make me happy now. But one more point is
keep going. It's fine.
Yeah, I hate when people are too honest as well. I like, for instance, I've seen somebody recently being like, oh, happy whatever, and let's just say happy 15th anniversary of my husband. I don't think we're gonna make it 15 more, but we're gonna try. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, shut up. Because then you post a bunch of this other bullshit that I see, and I hate seeing your post. But then you say something like that, and I'm like, I'd rather you say you're the happiest person in the world. Like, I
Yeah,
just
you're
can't
speaking
stand
it
that.
into
Are you looking for
existence.
attention? Yeah. Like, I'm
You're
not gonna give
speaking your
yeah.
sad shit into existence.
But also, how, like, shitty is that for your spouse?
Well,
Who
that's what I'm
doesn't
saying.
probably yeah, it's like,
If you're
just
saying you're not going to
stupid.
last another 15 years, what you're really saying is I don't want to make it another 15 years.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
basically giving up already, and so therefore putting it out there into the world. You put stuff out there, and that ends up becoming. You could say we're gonna last
Yeah,
another even if you don't believe it, we're gonna
yeah.
last another 15 years, and then you do.
Yeah, well, yeah, what you just told me is that you don't want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Any more vacation type stuff?
I have one thing I could bring
Do
on
it.
if you got
Do it.
time.
Yeah, I got time.
When I went to the Bahamas for my honeymoon, uh, which was fucking amazing, and thank you to everybody that gave us all the wedding money that made that happen because it was, like, very luxurious, and we couldn't have done it without them. But what pissed me off so much was I see the people and I can hear they're like, "Yeah, we come here all the time," and then you got their 12-year-old kid being, like, so mean to
Mm,
their parents.
mm-hmm.
Like, "Get away from me, like, I don't wanna be seen with you," as you're walking to the beach or this heated pool, and
Kids
I'm
are the
like,
worst,
"You
man.
little motherfucker," like,
Yeah.
it definitely made and I told my dad this, I said, "It made me really appreciate, how much money my parents put into making sure we had fun vacations, like going to Hawaii." Like, my dad worked so damn hard. If he wasn't doing construction, he was plowing people's roads, and he was doing karate and making a website about how to do karate online. Like, it was just like, how did you do all these things? And I appreciate that so much, and it made me just really wanna smack that kid, even though their mom was like, "Okay, honey, no big deal." It's like, "Oh
Dude,
my god, your kid's
how
like that because you're like that."
I was gonna say how fucking crazy does a kid have to be that jaded at that age on a fucking vacation?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
look at kids that are going on vacation and that are really not like that, and they're having literally the time of the because they're kids. Everything's supposed to make them happy,
Yeah.
right? They haven't experienced too much at that age.
I think the problem is they've gotten, obviously they have experienced too much at that age, and they're like, "I would have rather gone to Mexico."
Well, yeah, that's my point. Is like
Yeah,
how jaded is your kid at that age? Because they're supposed to be like stoked about
yeah,
everything. But
yeah.
even if you have experienced a bunch of stuff, I've met kids who have rich families who then still are like grateful
Because
because
their parents are
they've just
good,
been taught to be respectful.
and they know or they're being taught the value of a dollar.
One time, I gave this rich kid. I didn't have any money at the time. It was my girlfriend's family, and I gave him like a fake GoPro for Christmas, and it was like
Like a
used.
knockoff or a really fake?
Yeah, no, it was a knockoff
Okay.
GoPro. He wanted a GoPro, and his family could easily buy him a GoPro, but I gave him a knockoff GoPro,
I
which was
can tell
like,
you feel proud about this.
no, I'm not proud of it. It was like a really cheap gift, and I didn't have money, and I was like, yeah, whatever, just give it to him. And you should have seen the fucking Oscar-worthy performance that kid gave when he opened it, and he looked at me and went, well, that's just about the best gift I could ever ask for, Nick.
That's so nice, though. I love
And
that.
it was so nice because I knew
Yeah.
he was full of shit, but I was like, that's a good fucking kid. He cares more about how I feel about his receiving the gift
Oh,
than he
okay.
actually
Yeah.
cares about the gift. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna brag right now. Marshall is the same way. You
Isn't
give
that
that kid a
great?
wrapped avocado, and he's gonna be like, "Thank you so much. I love avocados."
You ever seen the kids where they do that? They'll give them like some
Yes.
shitty thing, and then it'll be like, and here's your real gift. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that kid deserved that shit.
But also that manipulation is so fucked up.
It is fucked up, but it's like, look at how fucking good he is, though. It's like
Yeah,
he would have been
yeah.
stoked with the other thing.
I do. I love that stuff, and I love that my kids are like that. Like, I've
Yeah.
always tell them, like, hey, there's a chance that you get clothes or that you get something you already got. Just be like, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate it. I love this. And they do it. And I really do think at this point that they mean it.
Dude, that's the whole thing, though. You got to just appreciate what you get, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
real.
Even
That's
though
real.
Marshall wants his like third freaking VR because he keeps breaking them.
VR, like a VR headset?
Yeah.
Good Lord, how's he keep breaking them?
I don't know. That's just something we're trying to work on is like the responsibility of your freaking electronics. Because for somebody who loves electronics so much, like you need to take care of this shit better. He'll be like, "Oh, I just hit it on the side of the wall, and I need a new one or a new handle or something." And I'm like, "Well, you gotta stop doing that. be more responsible about or be more aware about where you're at."
Damn privileged kids.
They're
Yeah,
good
well,
privileged kids.
I don't know, man. Vacation and jealousy. Vacation
I think
and jealousy.
that was a great set of words.
Yeah, that was good. Is there anything else? Great vacation and jealousy.
I don't know, man. I'm just happy that went so well.
Yeah,
Definitely makes us question sometimes who we are and what we do, right? Like, am I posting this shit and making people jealous, or am I posting just the things that make me really happy? So I kind of enjoy that aspect of the wheel.
Yeah, and I definitely post shit like, wanting something. I don't know what that thing always is, but everyone calculates their image to a degree. You make a decision before you post it, like, what are they going to think about? Not everything is posted completely I do post a lot of mindless shit too, but sometimes I post
actually
things
love the
like,
mindless shit you post because it's like your artistic photos from Bangkok and stuff like that. Like that's really cool stuff.
yeah, but
And
I'm
the
looking
people
for
that know you
compliments,
are going to
though.
appreciate.
I'm
Whatever.
not looking for compliments. I'm looking for
appreciation.
People to notice that I have taken. Yes, exactly. I
Yeah.
thought they were cool. I'm hoping you think they're cool too.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting anything, but
you're like, look at this caviar on the beach that I have. You're like, look at this sweet lighting of like this alley.
Exactly.
and
Just trying to
I
take
appreciate
cool
that
pictures.
stuff. Yeah. And people that know you should appreciate that stuff. You just got to surround yourself by people that appreciate you and who you are.
Don't surround myself with anybody, man. The only person I talk to is fucking via a remote conversation.
Not for long, my friend.
Everything else is I keep every other relationship fairly distant.
No way, bullshit. Because when you end up moving here, we're doing this in person.
Hopefully that's somewhat soon, but I can't predict that.
No, I'm not asking for a timeline. I'm telling you,
maybe
soon. No joke.
maybe that's the point of this podcast. Maybe we have to push this thing fucking up into the realm of where people watch podcasts and get some viewership, get some of that YouTube money, and then our dream can come true. Maybe that's like me begging a potential audience to like subscribe.
I like that.
And like
get
share
us money
it
so that our dream to be together can happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is like you could make this love story complete if you, and all we need is subscription. We need you to subscribe and we need you to share. And then you'll get episodes every fucking day. Honestly, make it our full-time job, and I'll come up with crazy things to say every day.
Then people will stop watching.
And then our wives will hate us because we'll be
fucking together just all
recording.
The time.
Yeah, I'm just recording all the time. Just help us have a place that we can both go to, so we don't have to like. This is lame. Split screen's lame. Help us just like film in one location. That'd be fucking cool.
Let's bring back this idea that we talked about before, which was let's find some viewers that want topics talked about.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get that shit. Hey, I think we can involve my buddy and see if we can get him to.
Maybe I can get my brother to do that too.
That'll be our next episode then.
It's people finding us naturally, even when we're not sharing. I love it.
It's great. Yep. All right, man. I'm
out. All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Later.
Bye.